Hey guys, Deeks here. We are taking the boardroom chat on the road today. We talk about quivers, surfboard quivers, and today we thought we would roll around to Payney's house and check out his surfboard quiver, what he uses it for, what he's loving. So come check it out. Let's see what he's got at his place. Payney, what's going on?
Deeks, how's it going, man?
Good, man. Let's talk some surfboards, hey?
Yep, just chucking the ball for the dog.
I love it. Doggo doesn't want to play anymore.
And fetch. There you go. Come on in.
Camera shy. Let's have a beer.
Let's. Sunday Arvo.
You getting the beers out?
Yeah.
Perfect.
You go, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What are you doing today, Deeks?
Well, I thought we'd come talk surfboards.
Yep.
Quivers.
Quivers. Yep.
What are we looking for in surfboard quivers, man? What makes them up?
Lots of surfboards.
Well, can't argue with that idea, that's for sure.
I guess quivers are all about getting the right boards for the your ability and the right range of conditions, because you can buy one board that's an all-rounder, I guess.
Yep.
And that's going to be pretty good as an all-rounder, but it's not going to excel in really big waves, and it's not going to excel in weak waves either. So that's a disadvantage of the one board quiver.
Yep.
It's unreal. I understand people need those things, and there's lots of good options around for that.
Yep.
And you can play with the fins on a board, a single board like that as well, and that will help broaden the spectrum of the conditions that you're going to be able to ride a single board quiver in. Nothing beats having a quiver, and a quiver can start with basically 2, 3, 4, 6 boards, whatever. You're limited by your budget and also by your ability.
Yeah. I guess, and wave condition too.
Wave conditions, totally.
We see such a variation of that in South Australia, but if you're travelling to Indo, we have a whole different ball game on boards and what's going on there. So
totally, and a lot of surfers in South Australia, particularly the Adelaide region, are going to surf places like Middleton with those slower, gluggier waves, and if you don't surf those waves, you're doing yourself an injustice by not getting in the water regularly. And if you're only saving yourself for the really good days because you don't have the equipment to ride the weaker days, you're missing out a lot of days. And when it's really good, you're maybe not fit and your head's not in the game. So the advantage of having boards for the weaker conditions and the good conditions, it just makes a massive difference to the range of conditions you're going to be stoked in.
Any excuse to go surfboard shopping is good enough for me. But let's walk through and have a suss on, I guess, your quiver, hey?
Yep. So I guess, at my age, 60 years of age, and I've been surfing for, 45 years,
yep.
My requirements have changed over the years as my ability went up over the years, and I'm surfing a lot of good waves and heavier waves. And then as you get older, you've got to really be quite sensible about your abilities of what you're still capable of riding. So, I'm not really riding 29 litres anymore. I still get out in good quality waves, and I still get out in crap waves down at Middleton as well. So when we talk about the crappier waves, we're generally talk about that flat rocker line. So things like Feb fish down here. So people always think about volume being the be-all and end-all.
Yep.
How often do they come in and say, what volume should I ride?
We all talk about volume like it's this magic number, but it's, a bit of a, trifecta on what works and goes together with each other, hey? It
is a bit, and people sort of come and go, what volume should I ride? There's not one specific volume, but how is that volume? Where is the foam in the board, and what's the rocker line like? Volume's not everything, but it certainly helps. It's part of one of the numbers game. So when we talk small wave boards, basically I've been riding the Feb Fish. This is a new board from Channel Islands.
Yeah.
And so flat rocker line, glides really easy, a lot of foam to the middle of the board there. Relatively wide nose, quite wide tail, so it works well in sort of weaker conditions. I think this board will still go well when it gets bigger, probably not heavy barrels, but, in that sort of 4-foot range, open face waves, a board like this will still work.
You found that at Parsons not long ago, hey? It's probably surprised you a little bit.
It did.
You run that with keel fins in it, so it's got a little bit more drive too, but, you know, all accounts, I think we've been quite surprised and excited by that Feb Fish.
Yeah, Feb Fish kills it in small waves. Sometimes even in weaker waves, you do want a longer board. So this board goes up in volume. The Feb Fish is about 30 litres for me. This is 38 litres. This is basically my mini mal, if you will, or a mal just about, because this is a 6'8", 38 litres. In the Big Barren. So it's a 20. 20's created a lot of drive, a lot of speed. Always
so
good
much
fun,
hey?
Yeah, a bunch of fun. Again, quite flat rocker line. The nice thing about this board, though, is the rails aren't too clunky, you know. It's got relatively refined rails on this board, so even though it's good in flatter, weaker waves, and sometimes you just got to remember that 38 litres in a 6.8 is going to paddle way better than 38 litres in a 6.2. You know, that longer waterline length helps the board paddle a lot more. Sometimes you just need that longer board to get onto those weaker, crumbly, rolly sort of reform waves down at Middleton. So this board is pretty versatile. I've actually surfed out west on some quite nice waves, not big, you know, that sort of 3 foot range, but quite bowly.
Yeah.
And again, just refined rails and a pulled in tail means that that board's going to be, you know, handle a wide variety of conditions. Isn't it all rounder? Not really. It's still biased towards weaker waves, but it's a bunch of fun. You know, it's even at that size in a 6.8, I can still throw this around and get the board releasing and sliding out. So there's a lot of fun to be had in that. They're not too clunky by any stretch of the imagination. The Big Baron?
I guess, yeah, you talk, you know, there's a whole Baron family from JS, and we want to talk about all-rounders. The old Baron personally has been a huge fave, and, you know,
I'm a bit of a late bloomer with the...
You've only just got there, hey?
Yeah, with the old Baron. You've been pestering me to dig onto this for a long time, man. And you finally got me. And the reason I got one is this is sort of still a semi-performance board, believe it or not. The next board on the Ghost I ride a lot, but some days when I'm feeling on flat, there's a big crowd around.
You surfing for 6 hours a day, 7 hours the day before, you know, you're a little bit sleepier than normal.
Yeah, and, you know, you've got 25 people in the water at some of these breaks sometimes. That's a lot of people to deal with, a lot of traffic. So this is where the L Baron comes into it. So it's basically a stretch short board, you know. It's got a medium sort of plan shape. It's not too fishy compared to, you know, some of the other boards, and it's not a, you know, it could be a mid-length in the bigger sizes, but it's basically a stretch short board. We're getting more nose rocker in it, so it's going to handle bowlier waves. I've been surfing this over at Yorks a bit, and you can still surf it down south as well, so it's just pretty versatile. Easy to paddle, but handles quite good waves, surprisingly well. Like, it's, you know, the days you don't want to ride a short board, but you don't want to sacrifice too much. This is where the L Baron comes into it. I quite often ride as a quad, been trying as a thruster recently.
Yep.
I sort of mix and match fins a little bit there. A bunch of fun. You know, this is still almost starting to get up into that one board quiver sort of area.
It can handle such a range of waves and type of waves in itself, hey?
And you've had
size.
a couple of these, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got 2 of them because apparently I really, really love it. But at the same time, like I've had such good success surfing it, you know, again, locally and out west and Yorks and so on. Back into Taz a little bit as well. So I'm looking forward to continuing to try it. I'm a little bit more, I love it as a thruster, but I have heard recently a 2+1 is a little secret hack with it.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm kind of curious to see how that pans out in the water.
Yeah, you won't make it a 20, but you'll create a different fun element to the board.
Yeah, just I don't know, always curious to see what fins are doing to these boards as well, because, you know, boards in themselves are a category, and then we talk fins as...
Yeah, and that's the thing, as we said earlier,
part.
you can really extend the range of conditions a board's going to work in.
Nice
by playing with the fins.
Should we just pan in on the little love mark there after the first surf?
Yes.
How do we know that we're checking Payney's boards out? Because there's a few repairs.
That's right. I'm famous for smashing boards up, aren't I?
Well, that means you use
that one. I've crashed that one. I've crashed that one. That one. Not that one. Not that one. So
no, we're good.
There's a theme.
There's a bit of a theme here where we're getting in good waves,
and there's more rocks around.
Yeah.
I give them a caning. The next one in my quiver is the Ghost from Payne. Now, this is a swallow in this board. Generally, we're selling these in the round tail. So this is starting to get into that step-up board category. So, you know, they don't paddle quite as easy as more nose rocker in it. It's not a high-performance rocker. Step-up boards have probably got a slightly more moderate rocker line because they're meant to be paddling into waves with ease, and also you want to be holding speed through barrels, making big sections on waves. So they don't have that really flipped up high performance rocker. Generally we're selling this in a round pintail, but more recently we've been selling quite a bit of the swallowtail as a custom order.
A few people have been discussing, and you know, and they're not in a rush, so it's always nice when people are travelling and they're not in a rush for these boards. And they go,
plan ahead.
Yeah, plan ahead. We don't see that often, really.
Can't snap our fingers.
A lot of people going, I really like the look of the swallowtail, and going down that direction.
And the reason I sort of got a swallowtail on this is I've got a pintail on the next board. I wanted a slightly shorter rail line on it. So instead of having a long rail line, the pintail ending there, which gives you good hold on the bottom turns, really feels engaged. The swallowtail's got a shorter rail line, so it sort of pivots off the top a little bit more, sort of getting to that squash tail area. We've had a little bit more sort of shorter rail line, a little bit of release coming off these points. So the swallowtails are, a good tail shape in a range of conditions. You can get a swallowtail for small waves, you get a swallowtail for big waves.
Yeah.
And the Ghost, it's selling quite well in both the tail shapes. So this has been a bit of a favourite, taking this to Indo, taking it west.
That's so we have some cracking photos of you surfing that in the Banyaks.
Indeed,
in the shop. So if you're ever in and having a suss, there is some really good shots there of what that board does.
Yeah, and it's basically a John Florence design, but mere mortals, you ride the right volume, it's a very easy board to ride, that's for sure, but obviously bias towards much better waves. What's next, Dave?
Last two. What do you got here? Happy Traveller.
Happy Traveller, as the name suggests, she's a traveller, We're starting to talk thicker strings in here, 6'4" deck, glass job on the Pizel as well, but yeah, that longer rail line, we're talking round pins and sort of getting up to pins in this area here.
Bit of a Black Beauty spray.
Yeah, the Black Beauty sort of rail spray on there looks quite nice.
Good.
So this is really the step-up board for me when it's, really good waves.
Yep.
You want a fair bit of paddle power. This is sort of getting up to 6'4", 34 litres for me.
Yep.
And it's 66, 67 kilos.
Yeah.
That's sort of, it's a bit of extra volume for me. But again, my age, my ability, I'm being sensible about what I'm capable of riding and what I need to ride these days. As a step-up board, again, it's got that moderate rocker line. It's not super curvy.
Yep.
So we want a lot of paddle power on this board.
Yeah.
So it gets you in the waves early instead of falling out of the sky and trying to connect your fins. You want to roll into these things a little bit more. Some people can do that. I can't. I want to get set up and, it's a good way of setting up barrels too, getting to it early, getting their first bottom turn and feeling like you're really going to set up the barrel properly and make the section instead of falling into it late and squirreling out. You've got a little bit of paddle power to get yourself into the wave early. And again, that's just me, and everyone's a little bit different. But the Happy Traveller certainly is, the most step-up board we do sell in the shop. The Pizel Ghost probably sells a bit more because it's maybe a little bit more versatile.
Yeah, we have found that a lot where guys want something not completely dedicated for, good big waves, but want something versatile, which is where that goes. But we've also done quite a few of these over, the journey, the last few years since they've released it, and had a really good response. I mean, it's a good looking board. And
and these are always available in custom orders. We tell people, plan ahead, please. It's 6 weeks to get a board made. It's a bit of custom made sporting equipment made in Australia. Pay the price, take your time, get it organised.
With what you're getting,
and be stoked with what you're getting.
Yeah.
Don't touch at stores and get the wrong board. Plan ahead, for Christ's sakes.
Now this last one, we had a chat. Not everything are we able to carry in the store. We have. This one's got a few years in the rack at your house, I reckon.
It has, yeah. This is just it's a nice wall hanging, but also gets surfed quite a bit every year.
This doesn't hang too much, I reckon.
Nah, it's had 2 fin boxes replaced on it.
Yeah.
This is a pocket rock from Jerry Lopez. So it's a Lopez design. It is a copy. It's made by Surf Tech, but is in PU construction.
Yep.
So it is actually the legit Lopez shape. And the reason I ride this board is it's quite long, but it doesn't have high volume. These other boards we look back here when you hit 6'10", they're unrideable for me because I'm quite a small guy.
Yeah.
67 kilos and, 5 foot fuck all. Excuse me. But that with a long board, so it's got a lot of good paddle power, but its rails aren't too thick.
So how long is this?
That's 6'10", 19 and a half, 2 5/8.
Yep.
Giving you 37 litres.
Yep.
So when we hit 6'10s in these boards, they're well up into the 40s and the rails get really chunky.
Too much.
And being a lightweight rider, and this is what we do, suggest to people, they want to get the rail shape just right because heavier guys can hold that big fat rail in the water. I can't. I'm 67 kilos holding that board on rail on the water. That fat rail wants to pop out of the water, skid out and get out of control. So you understand why I ride a long board like this, but that's still quite refined rails and super pulled in tail shape.
There's enough going on. You don't want to have to fight your board to do what you're asking it to either.
You're travelling fast on big waves and one little bounce sets you all out of whack and, the consequences are,
not very enjoyable.
Not very enjoyable, that's for sure, when they land on your head afterwards. But, nonetheless, all these boards, you're only as good as the operator.
Always.
I pearled this thing beautifully about 2 weeks ago and had the lip land on me afterwards and went, that was nothing to do with this surfboard.
No, and we do get asked sometimes about boards. Is it good marketing or a good board? But it always does come down to how you surf and what skill set you're kind of carrying into it.
So that's my sort of quiver these days, from the Lopez way back down to the
Feb fish,
the little Feb fish there. And for our customers, I guess what we look at is, where are you going to have your quiver? Is it going to be down here? And that's fine. If that's the waves you surf, unreal. Buy that sort of board. If you want one from there, and then one from there, unreal. That's your quiver too. You want to buy an all-rounder, stoked. Just buy the right all-rounder that's going to be versatile. Remembering you're going to sacrifice a little bit at each end of the wave scale.
Yeah, and even then, make sure you're checking what you've got, because there's no point. I found recently, and even knowing this information, that I had 3 boards that were all very much in the same kind of category, and they crossed over, and it was just you can only surf so much, and we all have full-time jobs as well.
You're limited in time and ability, and it's one thing we always ask questions of customers when they come in. What else have you got? What are you trying to complement here? Are you starting from scratch? That's fine. We're here to help you do that. You've got that board you love and that board you love. Here's the one that's missing. Right. Okay, what waves are you going to surf these boards in? Where you're going to Indo, you're going west, whatever. Then we go, right, we need to fill that gap. You go, got a high performance board, but you're having a crap time at Middleton on it. All right, come down here.
We do hear a bit of it.
That's my quiver, and that covers a range of conditions. And
nice to show people, walk through. Thanks for having us at your house, man.
Cheers.
Always appreciate the beer.
Yeah, anytime.
We'll see you guys in the shop.
Check ya.
You. That was that.
Not bad.